Have you ever watched a gambler double down on a losing hand, knowing full well they're about to lose everything but unable to stop themselves? That's exactly what's happening in Los Angeles right now, and it's both fascinating and terrifying to witness. The Lakers are reportedly ready to surrender multiple draft picks, their most precious currency, for Utah Jazz center Walker Kessler, and the timing couldn't be more suspicious or desperate. The ticking clock of championship windows. Let's set the stage for this high-stakes poker game. The NBA draft is just days away, and the Lakers find themselves in that familiar position of franchise panic. LeBron James is entering his 22nd season, and despite what his Instagram posts might suggest, Father Time remains undefeated. The Kings' championship window isn't just closing, it's practically slamming shut, and the Lakers' front office knows it. This is where Walker Kessler enters the picture, and honestly, it's a story that perfectly encapsulates everything wrong with modern NBA team building. Kessler, a 7'1" center who's shown flashes of defensive brilliance but remains largely unproven, has somehow become the Lakers' white whale. According to Andy Larson of the Salt Lake Tribune, Los Angeles has been pursuing the young big man all the way back to the trade deadline and is now willing to part with multiple draft picks to make it happen. Think about that for a moment. The same organization that mortgaged significant draft capital to escape the Russell Westbrook disaster is now ready to do it again for a player who averaged 8.1 points and 7.5 rebounds per game last season. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over while expecting different results, and the Lakers seem determined to prove that point. The Jazz's masterclass in asset management. Meanwhile, Utah is sitting pretty in the most enviable position in professional sports. Being the seller in a desperate buyer's market, the Jazz have transformed themselves into the NBA's premier asset collectors, and their relationship with the Lakers has been particularly profitable. Remember that significant cost mentioned when Utah bailed LA out of the Westbrook fiasco? That was a top 4 protected 2027 first-round pick, and now the Lakers are reportedly ready to add more picks to the pile. Danny Ainge and the Jazz front office must be cackling with glee. They've managed to convince a championship-desperate franchise that their young and proven center is worth multiple first-round selections. It's like watching a masterclass in negotiation psychology. Utah doesn't need to win now, so they can afford to be patient and extract maximum value from teams that are operating under championship pressure. The timing of this revelation is no coincidence. With the draft just days away, the Jazz are perfectly positioned to leverage the Lakers' desperation. They can either keep Kessler and see if he develops into something special, or they can cash in on LA's panic and collect even more draft capital. Either way, Utah wins. The Kessler question, hidden gem or fool's gold? But let's dig deeper into the player at the center of this potential transaction. Walker Kessler is undeniably talented. His 2.3 blocks per game last season ranked among the league leaders, and his 7'1" frame with legitimate mobility makes him an intriguing modern center prospect. He's also just 23 years old, which in today's NBA represents significant upside potential. However, there are legitimate concerns about his offensive limitations and overall impact. Kessler's usage rate remains minimal, and his offensive skill set is still largely theoretical. The Lakers would essentially be trading proven draft assets for the hope that Kessler can develop into something more than a defensive specialist. The most concerning aspect? Kessler is entering the final year of his rookie contract and will be eligible for an extension this summer. The Lakers would not only be giving up multiple picks, but also committing to a significant long-term financial investment in a player who's never been a primary option on any team. It's the kind of calculated risk that either looks brilliant in hindsight or becomes a cautionary tale about desperation-driven decision-making. The pressure cooker of championship expectations, this potential trade perfectly illustrates the impossible position the Lakers have created for themselves. With James and Anthony Davis on the roster, every decision is viewed through the lens of immediate championship contention. There's no time for patient development or strategic asset accumulation. Every move must contribute to winning now. The problem is that this approach has already burned the Lakers multiple times. The Westbrook trade was motivated by similar championship desperation, and it nearly destroyed their title hopes completely. Now, they're contemplating another significant asset expenditure for a player who might not even be ready to contribute at a championship level. The irony is palpable. The Lakers are so desperate to win now that they're willing to sacrifice their future, but the moves they're making in service of that goal might actually make them less likely to achieve it. It's a vicious cycle that has trapped multiple franchises over the years. The draft day domino effect. What makes this situation even more intriguing is the timing. The NBA draft has historically been a catalyst for major trades, and the Lakers-Jazz negotiations could trigger a chain reaction across the league. If Los Angeles does surrender multiple picks for Kessler, it could signal to other teams that the Lakers are in full desperation mode, potentially driving up the price for any other players they might target. The draft also represents Utah's opportunity to maximize their return. With multiple teams potentially interested in Kessler, the Jazz can create a bidding war that forces the Lakers to overpay. It's classic supply and demand economics, and Utah holds all the leverage. The long-term implications, regardless of how this specific trade unfolds, the broader implications for both franchises are significant. For the Lakers, it represents another all-in move that could either secure their championship window or close it entirely. For Utah, it's another opportunity to add to their already impressive collection of future assets. The most fascinating aspect is how this trade could shape both franchises for the next decade. If Kessler develops into a legitimate star, the Lakers look like geniuses. If he remains a role player, they've essentially traded their future for marginal improvement. Meanwhile, Utah continues to stockpile the assets that could eventually fuel their return to contention. The moment of truth, as we approach draft day, the Walker Kessler situation has become a perfect microcosm of modern NBA decision-making. It's a story about desperation versus patience, immediate gratification versus long-term planning, and the impossible pressures of championship expectations. The Lakers find themselves at a crossroads that will define their franchise for years to come. They can continue down the path of asset depletion in service of James's championship window, or they can show restraint and focus on sustainable team building. The Kessler trade represents more than just a transaction. It's a philosophical statement about how they view their future. For Jazz fans, this is pure entertainment. Watching your front office extract maximum value from desperate contenders while building for the future is the kind of long-term thinking that championship organizations embrace. They're playing chess while their opponents are playing checkers. The next few days will be absolutely crucial for both franchises. Will the Lakers' championship desperation lead them to another costly mistake? Or will they show the restraint that's been missing from their recent decision-making? What's your prediction for how this drama unfolds? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and smash that like button if you're as captivated by these high-stakes NBA negotiations as I am.